First of all, you're going to see either a green or flashing green light. If you come into the room and the computer's not on, and you see that, just come by, hit the button one time, it should go green. Maybe didn't hit it. It should go green so that when you turn on the computer, it will come on. Okay. If it doesn't come on for some reason, again, just cycle that. The other thing you'll like too is back here.
I had to lower it when I came in. I was like, I can't touch this.
So you don't need a stool to write on this.
I had it last.
Yeah.
So
should have figured.
So that's on all of these. The other thing that you'll also see, some of these classrooms, because the classrooms are so wide, like 216 in this building here, the two nursing, 113 and 121, they're so wide. We have this close to the podium and a second monitor over here, and it just slays whatever's on here comes on the second one. And at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little, like a little LED light. If it's in standby mode, you'll see that. Otherwise, you can just go on the side and hit the power button until that comes on. But if everyone leaves them in standby when you come in, they just turn on.
You guys will notice when you sign into your computer is that there are two softwares, okay, that are labeled Sharp. You have one that says Sharp Pen Software Overlay Mode, and you have one that is just plain old Sharp Pen software, okay? When you see files, they will be .sws. You cannot have, one thing to remember, is you cannot have these two softwares open at the same time. So for those of you that have been kind of playing around, you'll notice that you have to close one out. The first one I'm going to go into is overlay mode. What do you guys think overlay mode is?
Lays on top of whatever you've got.
Exactly. So old school transparencies, okay? So let's just pretend that we have our desktop open and now there is a plain transparency on here, okay? So we can just take a pen as we wish and just start writing, okay? Or if you like using this big marker or stylus, you can use that. Okay. What I'm going to do is it's very...
How do you erase that?
How do you erase it? Here's an eraser. Touch that. We touch it again. It expands out to bigger ones. We can erase it that way. We can clear it. I'll explain all that in a second. Okay. So the first thing that you will notice is the transparency mark. Okay. What this does is now that this is closed, I can go in and open... Let's open in Microsoft Excel, because that's what we want to mark on. I'm going to pull this back up, and it pops up. I'm going to touch this again, transparency, and our toolbar pops back up. Good so far? All right. So our next thing is our save, our little floppy disk. We can save these anything as PDF, JPEG, PNG, or BMP. What is that going to save as? Mainly a picture or a PDF. Why would you want to save something as a picture or PDF?
You open it up somewhere else.
Okay, right. Or maybe we want to have something open and we marked it all up for a test or for review and we want to send that out to our students. Or do you guys use Blackboard or something? Okay.
But what exactly does it take a picture of?
This is going to take a picture of everything on here.
Okay, since we're in overlay, I was wondering if is it just taking a picture of the overlay or the whole thing?
It's going to take a picture of all that. So I'll show you. JPEG, we'll just do that. Save it. Did I save that on the desktop? Here is the one that we just did. So I'm going to open that. And as you see, it shows, here was our toolbar. So it just shows what you can have. If we minimize that, our save would go away. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of that. Okay, so next is print. You can print as you wish. Overlay mode, you probably won't be using that much in, unless you just really like to mark up and you want to save it. As the question was asked earlier, how do we clear it? Well, you can go in, you can erase it like you really want to with an eraser. It might take a little bit longer. There's a delete a selected object. So if I had an object up there, like a JPEG or a file, we could delete that. You can delete the handwriting on this sheet. I can clear this sheet, so it completely clears the sheet off, or I can just hit cancel. So I'm going to delete the handwriting on this sheet, and it quickly goes away.
That arrow up at the top, would that be another way to go to another frame without actually
Yes.
erasing it?
That moves your,
Oh.
in overlay mode, you
Oh.
don't have that. You're thinking of the other software.
Oh, okay.
Yes, good question. So that is, this little arrow is moving your toolbar over. Okay? Before I go into settings, I'm going to discuss the pins next. As you see, you have 3 pins up here right now. We touch the pin that we want to write with. Okay? Well, you know, I don't really want to use black, red, or blue. I'm going to touch this again. So 2 touches. And I have all kinds of different colors and pin thicknesses I want. Okay? So, you know what? I really still don't like anything on there. So I'm going to hit setting. And I'm going to hit color. What color do y'all want to use?
Purple.
Purple. All right. Hit OK. And I'm going to hit out this way within. Hit touch OK. And now my pin is there. So now I can just go ahead and write. Or if you wish, again, you can do this.
Question on that.
Uh-huh.
Are these individual settings, or if Mr. Illicour used a big, thick purple pen, the class before me, am I going to get a big, thick purple pen?
No.
When I,
They default back to these.
oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
But
they're not personalized settings?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys sign on all to the same classroom?
No, they have different usernames for each one that signs on in here.
Okay. So that it will be saved under yours anyway. So if you're
Well, that's why I was wondering if it's
Right.
personalized.
Mhm.
I mean, whenever I sign on, am I going to get the same thing that I've always been getting?
As long as that computer's not frozen, you will get the same thing you always get in each room. So you'll have to go to each room you teach in and set your pins up.
Okay.
So
So if I want thinner writing, if I set all the pins up to have a thinner line, when I come in the next class, is it going to be thinner lines?
Yeah, the way to test that is go to one, set it up with a thin pin, turn the machine off, turn it back on, see if your thin pin's still there. If it isn't, call me. I'm Joanne Williamson.
Okay. But you're saying if I go to the classroom, I have to set it up there too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great.
and what I did was I just closed, I had that purple, I closed it out and it went back to the black, red, and blue.
Okay.
For settings though, what Joanne, correct? What Joanne is saying, then you go in your settings and you can default this way. So then it constantly defaults back.
Okay.
And I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So that's how we change pins. Same with the eraser. If I want a bigger eraser, I can just double touch. Double touch means we get our settings correct. Okay. And I can touch my different erasers that I want to use.
But it's easier to just use that eraser that's up there, though.
Okay. You can use the eraser that's up there.
It works as an eraser. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say that I have an Excel sheet up here, okay? And I'm teaching something in math, and I want to highlight a particular area that is on the Excel sheet that I really want my students to pay attention to. What do we usually use for like a highlighter color?
Yellow.
Yellow? Is that what you guys want to use?
Sure.
Okay. So how do I change one of these pins to yellow?
Double tap.
Okay, double touch. All right, so I want to hit transparent. Transparent's going to make the ink transparent. So what thickness do you guys want to use?
Thick.
The biggest one, okay. So let's say there's writing. Use your imagination. There's writing up here, and I want my students to really pay attention to this particular area. My shoulder's hitting that, I'm sorry. It'll eventually look as a highlighter. Okay? I want to clear that off. You guys remember how I cleared off? The trash can?
The trash can.
Where Oscar lives, Oscar the Garage. And technically, since we used a pen, it's classified as handwriting. So we will delete handwriting on the sheet and it's gone. Pretty self-explanatory if you just play around a little bit. What do you guys think this one does? Goes back. So, oops, I didn't mean to clear that off. There we go. We got to undo. And, nope, changed my mind. I really don't want that on there. Redo. Redo, undo. Okay. So, we're at the board, and we really don't have a mouse, a cursor. So, I'm going to touch the little cursor, and now I have one. But, how come it's not letting me touch anything? Because we're in overlay mode. So it's blocked. It's not letting us touch anything because we're in overlay mode. How can I get out of that? I can minimize, and now I can touch as I wish. I want to get back in overlay mode, just down here. Touch our sharp overlay mode, and we're back in. One thing I want to show you guys is, I'm just going to write. Okay, so I've written on the transparency mode. I want to be able to touch. I'm going to minimize, and my transparency is gone. So when you minimize, it's like crumpling that sheet away, that clear transparency, you're taking it away. If I want it back on, I'm just going to touch that, open back up the program that's there. Okay, it doesn't embed. You might be working with some softwares that it'll embed. This one does not embed into Microsoft. Do you guys know what you could use if you did want to mark up and embed? The Microsoft Ink. You could use actually Microsoft Ink, their software. So there's different ways around it that's of writing and annotating software that's already on your computers. Okay?
But saving it as a PDF does save the markup on top of the Excel.
Yes, if you wanted to do it that way, you could. So if we were saving that, save it as a PDF, we can open that back up. I just forget where I put it. And so it has embedded in there. But that's like taking a snapshot, the picture. Okay. Clear so far? Good? Okay. Our magnifying glass, obviously, it just lets us know we can magnify stuff.
Can you expand the magnifying area?
That you cannot do. Not yet. Hopefully, if they come up with a new software version, you will be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you work with Smart Notebook at all? Have you worked with them? Okay. That is pretty much your overlay. Very simplistic. If you wanted to, you can go to your settings and change what you see on here. That is something you can do if you wish. Okay, so now we're getting into settings. Your Pin 1 setting, as that gentleman was asking, we can go ahead and set that as we want to. Same thing, figure pin setting. Let's say that we're really going to use some figures. Do that one. Customize our toolbar. Okay. Right now, we have pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, eraser, undo, redo, select, and zoom in. Do you guys really think you're going to use zoom in a lot? Maybe not. So I'm going to touch zoom in and remove. And again, these are all things that you can do over here on the mouse. You don't have to be up to the board to doing it. Okay? But I am a math teacher, or I really want to draw some lines, so I'm going to add that. And I'm going to add the drawing figure as well. So I'm going to add that. Hit apply. Okay. Touch apply. And okay, I'll go back into those. Now what do you guys see over here on our toolbar?
Drawing and figures.
Okay. So again, to select something, I just simply touch it. I'm going to touch it again. And then I have all kinds of options. I can change my line color. Or again, if I don't like any of those, I can go to color select. I can do my different line widths. Begin style. What would you guys like to use for the beginning of the arrow? Anything? That one? Anybody? That work? Okay. Line style, let's do some dashes or dots. And all I'm doing is touching, and I'm hitting OK. My arrow is still selected. And kind of crooked one, up, down, straight. And now we have the line.
Great.
If I wanted this to be shorter, all I did was come over here to my cursor and got the dots. I can extend it, move it, all kinds of ways. So our little arrow, that this box right here, the blue, purple, whatever you wish to call it, has different properties down below. That is really hard to do. Let's touch this one. Okay, so you see the arrow? You can touch that. It has your properties, your basic cut, copy, delete, rotate. So we can rotate to the right, rotate to the left, 180 degrees. Order. Do you guys remember what order does? We have two images.
Oh, yeah, backward, forward.
Exactly. Yep, you got it. So we can go send to the back, send to the front, bring forward, send back. We can cancel, or we can even do our go to our property. So right now, the properties is saying that this is red. What should I do if I want to change this to green? Touch green. And now it went green, but I picked a really thick one, so that's not really clear. I might try to extend that so it's a little bit clearer. All I'm doing is dragging, just like you guys usually do on anything on your computer. Just think of your finger as the mouse, your cursor. Okay so far? Good? Okay. So this is the overlay, the sharp overlay. Overlay, we got transparency. We're marking over things, okay? One thing that I want to show you guys is close out that. See. One thing that is important, let's say that I had marked up all of that and I wanted to put it into a presentation that I'm using. And I'm using Sharp's presentation software. So that's Sharp Pen software. Looks pretty much the same, right? Except for it's just got a white background, a couple more things here and there. Just shows what we're gonna do, okay? So let's say that I had this Excel sheet and it was all marked up and I wanted to put it in here. To do that, you need to go into your computer settings and go to device and printers and make sure that this Sharp Pen software is set as your default printer. Okay? Now I'm going to show you why. I'm going to close out of this. It's a little door. Door means you're closing out, you're walking out. Okay. I want to mark up on this. What do I do if I want to mark up on this? Okay. I have an Excel sheet with a bunch of information and I want to write on it. What should I do?
Overlay.
Okay. How do I get to my overlay? If you have it on your desktop as a shortcut, it's there. Otherwise, it should be in your programs. Okay? So I'm going to my overlay. I'm going to pull up my Excel. Open that back up. And yep, I can't see what I need. So I'm going to actually go ahead and move it over here. All right, now I can see what I need. I'm just gonna go ahead and mark up some more here. And write D-E-F-G, my lovely handwriting. And I'm going to hit print, touch, I should say touch. Why isn't that going away? All right, I have to set up settings, I'm sorry. I'm in settings, this is good for you guys to know. So I've already set that as default. Print current sheet. Now this says send print data to Sharp, that's right. So there we go. I want to say okay. Now I am going to get out of here. So I'm leaving out the door, exiting it without saving. I'm going to open my software, actual software. And you see something over here flashing at me? See it kind of flashing? It looks like a transparency. It's going to go into a whiteboard. So what do you think is going to happen? My transparency is now going to come into my whiteboard. And this is now, see what happened is the pen is selected over there. So if I don't want to be writing, I actually want to grab it, which I do.
Use the hand.
Not quite the hand, but the cursor. Now this is an object. Okay, so I can minimize this, move it over here. So you probably would use that more on like a PDF, or as professors, what do you guys might think you might use that as? To mark something up and put it in a presentation.
Use that in place of PowerPoint?
Okay. You can use this in place of PowerPoint if you wish. You don't have to. It depends if you really like to mark up stuff. If you want to mark it up and then import each picture in, you could do that. Or maybe if you have a math book and you want to take a picture of, you guys use your document cameras a lot?
Some people do, some people.
Okay.
So they could use that as a final review. They could take a picture of every lesson they do in this classroom, and then before finals, show every lesson again to the students that they've marked up on the screen.
If they would like to, sure. And all this did was just take a picture, like a picture of it and insert into here. If I don't want this in my presentation anymore, I can just, what? Delete it. Or, what can I do over here? Can I erase it with an eraser? Nope. Trash can. So I can delete the handwriting. If I delete the handwriting, what's that going to do?
Blue.
Get rid of the blue. Okay. Or I can clear the sheet, delete all sheets. I'm going to leave this because I want to show you guys something else. Okay. So let's start going over, that's how your overlay mode might be needed if you wanted to put something that you've marked up in your overlay mode into your presentation. This is technically a presentation. Just kind of think of it like PowerPoint or anything else that you might use with whiteboards. If you guys ever taught it like K through 12, you might use Smart Notebook or Promethean, anything like that. That's okay. So the white pages or the flip charts, that's kind of, this is kind of like a flip chart. Okay.
Is that the advantage of this over the overlay? Like, why would you do all this rather than just stay in overlay mode?
Overlay mode is not going to save them as pictures. So if I'm sitting here teaching you guys and something is on the first page, then I can already have this preset. And then the next thing that I want to teach you is on the second page. And then this is on the third page. So, you know, we're building a lesson. That's the point of this.
Versus overlay mode, you have to go into your folder and drag each one up that you've saved.
Oh, yeah, I think of overlay mode as more of just a transparent sheet
Okay.
that you're marking on. And if you wish to save it, you can. If not, then you can just trash it. This is more building lessons or saving more of those overlay pictures because you're embedding them into your lesson for the day or for that. Okay? Any more questions right now?
So you can, just like Promethean, so you could come in early or during some free time and you could, say for math, put 5 problems, one on each of the pages and
Yes.
save it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then when that class meets, you bring it up and then you can work it out right there.
Yes, exactly. Perfect idea.
But you don't have to save the working out.
Exactly.
So you can, if you have 2 classes, you can bring it up again and the markings won't be there unless you wanted them to be there.
Correct. So what would you do in that case? So this is a presentation that I have already put together. I've written my problems on, okay? And my students have come up and they've worked it out. I want to close this out so I can leave. If I wanted to keep their markings, I would hit save. If I don't, then I'm just going to hit exit because you've already saved that already. It's already a file that you've used. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save as a file. And we are going to save as a new file. Here. I'm just gonna do- Okay, and again, it's saving in an SWS. Okay. So I closed out of that. And if you have all these saved, and you don't have to go into the software to open it. If it's right here, it's a test, I'm just going to double click and my lesson for the day is already on here.
To go farther than 8?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can jump around. Do you want me to just kind of answer
No,
that
that's okay.
question?
Yeah,
Okay, it don't matter.
That's fine.
All right. So open a folder. If I didn't already have this presentation open and I just opened up the program itself, let me show you that way. Okay, so I'm in my software, and I wanted to open up that test presentation. I'm going to go to our folder with the little arrow, click open, and it will only show you SWS files. Okay, it's only going to show you sharp presentation files that you have saved already. So I'm going to open test, touch test, open, or if you're at your computer doing this, same thing, I'm going to click test, open it, and it's all there. Keep doing that. You asked what the hand was. The hand's like grabbing this, and let's say we're just swishing, okay? That's what the hand allows you to do. Next thing is save. Obviously, just like our normal save functions, you have save, save as, and save as a PDF or an image. So it's kind of like saving as a cute PDF. Do you guys know how to do that? Your things? Okay. So if I wanted to send this whole presentation out to my students in an email or put it on Blackboard, I'm just going to go ahead and save PDF. So, because they don't have the sharp software. They just need to look at the sheets and they can read a PDF, not a problem, right? So then I can go ahead and save that as a PDF, JPEG, however I wish. And I'll hit save. Do you guys want to see what that looks like? So here's my PDF of the presentation I just did. How do I get down? Where's my page? Oh, here. There you go. So each slide is its own page and a PDF. You guys might probably use that. Okay?
Do we have access to the Sharp software on our office computers, or do we have to come in here to do that?
How would you do it on a computer without?
Well, I'm just thinking,
Touch screen.
we were talking about
Oh, you-
preparing some stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
And if I'm preparing stuff ahead of time, these rooms get utilized a lot.
Yeah.
And for me to find time when it's not being utilized, unless I want to come in really, really late or really, really early,
Which nobody wants to do.
which I will not have to do, then I'm not going to be able to make use of that functionality. So I was just curious,
Yeah.
can we access that software from our desktops.
How,
And you also might want to print it, type it instead of write it. Like the problem might want to be
How about the
typed.
initial setup, and then when we come into class, we can draw it, we'll need
Right,
to,
right.
the board will draw
If it's
it.
not a licensing issue, we can make that software available to them.
exactly, so that's more of on your IT at you guys, at the university itself, how they want to distribute that. I'm not sure how it's set up now, if it is set up per computer, or if you guys just sign in and then all your programs that you have under your name pull up that way. Okay, there isn't a licensing issue, so if you wanted them on your computer, because did you download it from a disk?
I just use that disk or something.
Okay, so exactly,
Put
yeah.
that disk out on the end drive or.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
help you, or I'll do it later.
Yeah,
Because
to answer your
build-
question,
Yeah, to build a lesson, we're
Oh,
going to build a lesson in our office.
yeah, it would take a while to sit here and do it at the board.
Mhm.
When honestly, you really probably just want to come here and, oh, look, I don't have, oh, I want to be able to type on this page.
I was gonna say,
Does anyone remember how we
one could play
change
this.
our toolbar?
Oh, yeah.
Settings? Which one's the settings?
The wrench in the hand.
All right.
Yeah, when I played on this
Okay.
yesterday, it had a toolbar.
Oh.
It had a keyboard
Okay.
yesterday. Where-
So what keyboard popped up? Was it the one on the top that's kind of yellow and you can write in it?
No,
Okay.
it was a regular keyboard,
Okay.
typing keyboard.
So if you see that one, that's actually part of Windows, but you can still use it. It's not a problem.
Oh, okay.
All right, so yeah, I don't like really what I have over here. Where do I go next? Let's see, we got default settings, pin drawing.
Toolbar command, or whatever. I can't read from this far back.
Uh-oh, you can't. We
Toolbar.
got
Customized.
Yeah, that's it.
customized toolbar. Okay, so I'm going to touch customized toolbar. Good job, that's correct. And this is where we can also float our toolbar or dock it. What do you guys think the difference is? So docking,
It's docked now. one
it's
side or
stopped,
the other.
right? It only goes from here to here.
Mhm.
If I want to float it, sorry, I'm touching at an angle. We'll see what happens after I apply settings. So what else was this that we wanted to change? Tool commands.
Keyboard or something that would,
Text box?
Yeah.
Okay, so I touch text box,
oh, okay.
hit add. Is there anything on here we don't really want? We don't have to, I mean, we can keep it all. Want to keep it all? Line. Anything else, maybe? Figure pin? Does anybody need some figures? Okay, add. Apply. We always want to save our changes. It's fine. I'm gonna hit OK. Touch OK again. And our toolbar got smaller.
Good.
So do you also notice, I know it's kind of hard to see back there, but there is a line and then there's like an arrow and another line. It looks like this. Kind of like that. So I'm going to touch that. And my toolbar goes like this. And if I really don't want it up there because I'm short and I need it down here, I'm going to put it over here. Or if you like to teach from the left side of the board, you can move it over there with you. Because I can just take it and you can walk with me. Okay. So we can dock it or we can float it. Those were in settings. That option was in settings. Under customized toolbar. Okay. Is this too hard for you guys to see how small this went? Can you see the toolbar okay? Is it a little too hard for you guys over here? Okay. Alrighty. Got distracted. You were asking me a question.
Text.
Text. Thank
Yeah.
you. See? Alright, so I touch the text box and I can just drag as far as I want to. You don't really have to. And is this what popped up the other day?
Mhm.
Okay, so I can sit here and type, but if I'm actually not at it's the monitor itself and I'm in my office, I can just come over here and type my lesson. Not low soon. And same thing, you guys can change the colors as you wish. Your fonts, the size, bold, italic, underline it. I want it blue. It's too small for the people in the back. And now this is an object. So I can move my object around as I need to. Okay. Instead of having so many different objects, I want to group. So just like you would as if you had a cursor, you're trying to select stuff. Is this not gonna... Well, let me do this this way. There we go. We've selected both, down, and group. So now those two items are now one item. If you want to ungroup, same thing, you can go down and ungroup. That might be good if you're building a bunch of shapes, or if you don't want to have wording up here different from moving too much stuff around, because you can't lock. On some softwares, like you can click this and make it lock. Not here. So if your students come up and they're messing with stuff, I mean, this could easily get out of place. And if you have any OCD issues like me, everything has to be perfect. It's so pretty basic, right, so far? Just kind of, does it feel overwhelming to anybody? I'm kind of jumping around, but it's really, the softwares are identical because they're, I want to say semi-identical, because of the toolbar. One's just an overlay, one's not. Yes, sir.
Could you go to the first page for a minute?
First page of this,
Yes.
right there?
Okay.
Yes.
When you copied your spreadsheet, you put it in here, I noticed even though you have the toolbar on the right, it's still cut off the left. And when you wrote D, E, F, and G, that was in column A, and now it's shifted over to column C. Everything is,
A little off.
yes, it's all off. It didn't copy the full spreadsheet, and it moved your text over. You see, you'd written down in column A, and you lost those two columns.
Very good. Let's see. Exit out of this. Okay, I'm going to try to write over this again.
Right in column A also.
All right, let's try, just add a couple of other things. Print, I'm hitting print because we're going to save it or print it to our new file. Okay, now I'm going to exit out. I'm going to touch the door, exit without saving. Open in software. I'm flashing. Okay, did it okay on that one?
I think it might have done that before because you were using the bigger toolbar and it was covering part of that sheet.
Well, no, she had put the toolbar over on the right side of the toolbar, so it wasn't covering it.
If you notice that, I would maybe switch to the floating because we switched to the floating toolbar and it kind of eliminated that. Because I did notice that when it was a docked toolbar, it was kind of cut.
Well, it was cut on both sides, because
Yeah.
when you moved it to the right side, it's still cut off the left.
Right.
Will the software let us set the floating as the default?
Yes. It's as that right now.
Okay, so we can do that on all of them, just to eliminate that.
I mean, you notice because it's either going to be really big or smaller than this. You're like, oh, if I can actually touch it and move it, okay.
That's Loaded.
Yeah. Alrighty, what time is it? Running, I got, just real quick, I'm just gonna go over kind of what we have here again. Remember, open, save, background image. This is something that you guys might definitely want to know about. Don't show a background image, so if there's no background image, it's gonna be plain white, okay? We can show a background image, and we can click reference, and these are ones that are already in the software. Now, you guys might maybe want to use like some pretty, I don't know, something if you're putting up the objectives for the day. And maybe when it's cold out, so you want to put snowflakes on the background or something. And that's something that you could just make, save as a picture, just a basic image file, and use it as a background. Real simple, just like you guys do on your desktops. Okay? I want to use, what do y'all think? Let's do a chalkboard. And I'm going to hit apply. Okay. Now this is above because it's an image. So it's a little bit too big for me. Let's bring it down. Okay. One thing that you need to remember, or if you want to remember, is that when you do it this way, clicking here to change your background, it's only going to change it on that one slide. Well, Bridget, how do you get it on all the slides? Well, we're going to go back to our settings, touch settings, and background setting of whiteboard, right there. So here is where we can go to our background color, change different colors if you wish. And that will go to all of them.
Do you have, or do you plan on having more backgrounds?
That's up to Sharp. I know that they really don't put too much into their software. It's very basic software. If you really want to get involved, that might be something that you can discuss with your administration, and they might maybe, I know your Promethean background, so if you really like Promethean, maybe you could get a Promethean software license, or if you really like Notebook, you can do a Notebook license software.
And they would work on this?
Yeah, because Smart, you can buy licenses now, and I know a lot of teachers that have had Smart, it's kind of hard to go back to this, or Promethean, it's kind of hard to go back, because it's very basic compared to what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and limited on your functions, but definitely. Okay, so we know what that one is. That's importing a picture, print, obviously. So we can print our sheets if we would like to. That one, we can print as more. Trash, gets rid of it. Our settings. Is there anything in settings we haven't gone over? Flick sheet. Enable the flick sheet at the bottom. Let's see, tiled view. So right now, when it is film strip view. So what that means is when I pull this up, it's like a film strip. If I switch it, touching settings, tiled view, applying, okay, sheet set, it's like this now. If you had more, then it would be listed. Well, I want to add more sheets. You guys see where I do that? Where would I add another sheet? Versus add? All right, you guys are college professors. Okay, now let's say I wanted to do this one with the chalk background. Copy. All right, but did you notice that what was on there already copied? So that image, I might want to make sure that I delete that before I copy it. Okay, if I don't like that, I want to delete it. Delete. Yes, I am sure I want to delete this. Okay. I want this first page, really, I don't want that as my opening lesson plan. Maybe I want that as page like 5. What should I do? Drag and drop. Drag and drop. There you go. Simple enough? Okay. So I can close it. And now this is on the 4th page. So I got my hand thing there. I like this because I like being able to flick as I want. How do I change the settings of the pen? Colors, thickness. Everybody.
Tap, tap.
Tap, tap. There you go. Okay. What's this one? Yellow
Undo.
and blue.
Read it in.
Cursor.
Cursor.
Okay. The little hand,
Right.
so I can grab and swipe. The box, text box. What can I do with the text box?
Type.
What else can I do with my wording?
Change the font and then.
All right, all right. And shapes. Well, what is that going to let me draw? Okay, so I can touch it again. Go to settings. There we go, and it automatically fixes itself.
Now that you have those shapes, can you change their size?
Sure, how do I do that?
Are they figures?
They are figures.
So you just tap on it.
Well, I'm still highlighted here, so what do I want to do first?
Click on cursor.
All right. Then I touch that, correct? Drag. Make it smaller. Maybe I want to make it more elongated. I kind of want to fill this in. How should I fill it in?
Here's somewhere.
Somewhere. How about drop down? What do you think now? Property? There we go. Okay. Fill color, color line, thickness. I'm just going to change it all up. What if I don't even want it to be a circle anymore? There's all kinds. I want it to be a diamond. Okay. Voila. Let's see. Is there anything on the toolbar that I have not talked to you about? Drawing object. Inserted image. What do you guys think that does? Inserts an image. So if you snipper tooled, on the Windows, something that the old school print screen, but now there's a snipper tool. If you want to insert that in here, you can. One question that I get that you guys cannot do, unfortunately, you cannot insert movies. You cannot do video clips, voice clips, or links, like hyperlinks. Very basic stuff. Okay? Hopefully that is changing. Hopefully.
Let me ask what you'd recommend. If I've already got like some lecture files built in PowerPoint, but I want to use that and I want to be able to mark it up as we go along and save that, what would you recommend? How would you recommend doing that? Would it
Do
be better
you
to do it-
want to embed your changes into the PowerPoint presentation or not?
I don't really care. We talk about getting it so the students could get a PDF file with all the markup pages. So what I'd like to potentially be able to do is at the end of the lecture, just say, all those changes that I've done, I'd like to save those and put that out on Blackboard so the students can go see the markup copy.
Okay, so what I would do is, there's a couple of different ways. If you want to, you can still use this board outside of the Sharp software, okay? And has anyone in here actually used Microsoft Ink? Okay, what Microsoft version are you guys running?
Microsoft Office 2013.
Oh, fancy stuff. Okay, so there should be a Microsoft Ink in there. What you can do is you'll be able to do all these functions, highlight, mark it up, use a pen, use pencils, whatever you want in that. That is their software ability now. So you can use that while standing up here at the board interacting. You don't have to necessarily use this software. This is just part of what you get when you buy the board, if you guys don't have Microsoft or if you're using something else. If you wanted to use that software, I definitely would there's a couple of different options. You could go through page by page of your PowerPoint presentation, and after you've marked it up, save that page or print that page, or print it into here, and then go back to your PowerPoint second, one, and mark that up. What you might want to do before you come to class is go ahead and put each PowerPoint page in here, and then mark it up in your class, and then you can just easily hit Save As.
Is there a quick way to get all the PowerPoint pages in there?
Unfortunately, there's no easy way to do a and input it.
Um,
And now,
and I'm asking in a total ignorance, will Microsoft Inc., if I make changes on one page and go to the next page, will it save those changes with each page? So at the end of the lecture, I can just do one print to a PDF and have it all work?
trying to remember. Fortunately, I don't sell Microsoft, so.
I can research that.
We can play with that
Couldn't
later.
Yeah, we can,
Ask the question again, because I.
Yeah.
I was talking while you were.
Here it is. Yes.
I was talking while you were doing some of that, but, and you might have answered this, but if he pulled up the PowerPoint and just did the overlay on top of the PowerPoint, mark up that PowerPoint and just save it as a PDF, correct?
Right, but you would have, it's every page.
Yeah, you have to.
Because, so, I'll show you. Is there a chance there's a PowerPoint on here?
Not on mine.
No, I just have to
but
see once it's
after
correct.
we do all those PDFs, we can combine them as one PDF.
Right.
Adobe will
Yeah.
let us combine multiple pages.
Yep.
Yeah, but you would have to take the time to save each one in class.
Or at your desk before class.
That's all.
Can you
Yeah,
use
if you
Even
want
on
to.
that software.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ifs here.
So,
Because that would be-
okay, so it's under your review, Microsoft Inc. is under review.
It would take long.
So then you can start thinking that way.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can highlight, erase, pin. This is one way that you can do it.
You can turn it on. if you
So
want.
let's
If you want.
try-
If not, I'll
Thank
do
you.
it when
You're welcome. Hope y'all
I'll
learned
be back in
something.
15 minutes.
Where do I go back to? Add pages. I'm teaching y'all stuff just from my knowledge. All right. Go back to start inking. Let's see here. Let's try. We'll go with this one. And see, I'm still using the interactivity of the board, but I'm not using any Sharp software. So that's still very much an option. Start inking. And there's a way to keep that up. So that is up. And as you see, it kind of is, this Microsoft's kind of smart and already kind of adjusts a little bit of your writing. So your question was, once we're in here,
Now, I've done with the class, the students are walking out the door, I'd like to save that as a PDF file.
okay. So then all you would do
Like
is
the
just
PDF printer.
save as,
No, go to print and print.
right. Do you have that set up that way with
Yeah,
their
so-
computers?
Yeah, but no
Okay.
animation would say.
No,
I mean, if you didn't have animation, that's fine. But if you had animation,
that wouldn't save.
It's
So-
Not to a PDF.
Adobe PDF
Right.
printer there.
Not to-
Right, there we go, thank you. It's mine called something different on mine. So then you would just hit this print,
Okay.
and now that's Microsoft Inc. Now your question, oh my goodness gracious, yes. Just so I can delete all that later. Okay, so this is just using Microsoft, okay? Now, your question though was, we have a PowerPoint, and we want to see how this is going to stay with the overlay mode. Let's go back to. Oh goodness gracious, stop it. All right. There we go. Back to this. See, this is kind of a couple step process though to do it this way. Your choice, however you wish to do it. But we want to get to that second page, we have to minimize that, and our ink goes away because we crumpled up that overlay. So what you'd have to do is pull that back up, because if we were to go to page 2, it's there. Which now we could print this, so you have
In
to
the middle of
print.
class to have students watch me fumble around with
I
all this
know.
stuff,
right.
I'd rather
I
not have to
completely
do
agree
that.
with you. That's
what I was
why,
talking
So it
Microsoft.
sounds like, because we don't have to do the overlay stuff with Microsoft Inc., we can just do Microsoft Inc. and
yeah. It saves you a lot of processes, and if you already have it set up, And then what can you do in PowerPoint? Link, videos, you know.
Mhm.
So if that's your style of teaching and you're very comfortable with PowerPoint, you can still use interactivity. You can still mark up as you wish. And if you want to come up here and not necessarily save it, not a big deal, then just pull up the overlay mode and work on it. But the biggest thing is don't not use this because you're afraid of the software. Still use this for interactivity and to pull in your students.
Bridget, one of the fears some of the people had is because we're putting these in and people were losing whiteboard. So
Understand.
kind of show them the infinite whiteboard you have
Yeah.
with this. And not only the infinite whiteboard, but how easy it would be to save the whiteboard functions and send to Blackboard.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you.
You might be able to answer this. Yesterday, I pulled up a PowerPoint. How can I stand at the back of the room and advance it?
You can still use the kangaroo mice. They
Oh,
still
okay.
work with the PowerPoint.
Okay, because I was having to tap the
You don't
button.
have to use, you can treat this as a projector. You don't even have to
Okay.
use any of the technology if you want. You can just treat it as a projector.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think that's the first thing we wanted to say actually before.
so the clicker's still going to be up there?
Exactly.
Everything works exactly the
All right.
same, just.
Okay.
Can you show us too, just for troubleshooting, like if we come in and it's not on, can we go over the basics of?
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We probably should have started with that, but we're gonna do some housekeeping.
We like to do things backwards.
But that's easy. You walk down to that corner room, you say, come fix it.
Not if you got a 6 o'clock class.
Well, that's true.
So again, your whiteboard's not gone. You guys have unlimited amounts of whiteboards. I mean, how much, for the math teachers, I think that's kind of frustrating sometimes is, okay, we write a problem out here and then we have to erase it so that we can go ahead. And, oh goodness gracious, I have to redo it all next time. Or if somebody has a question, oh, you mean I gotta rewrite all that? Oh goodness gracious. Okay, so this is just saved. You know, we've been writing and writing and writing, and all of these could be one long ongoing problem, especially in science, math, or we're working on changing in English, anything you really want. Again, we can move these, we can delete, we can add. So I have this, and as Bob said, well, okay, it's the end of my class, and I want my students to, remember what what I taught them today, or go over that, or reinforce it. So I want them to have this to look at tonight. Well, not a problem. We can save this, or we can just print it. Print it as a PDF. Yep.
So we really think this is easy.
No, I didn't want to do it that way.
I'm not sure that's.
Oh,
Unless you-
let's see. Oh, I apologize. We're going to do it this way. Instead of printing, hit save and save as a PDF. And that's how you can do it.
That's right.
I'm going to close out of this. And I'm back home and I want to, put this on my class for for Blackboard. All I need to do is just go to my documents. Where did I put on desktop? Or Blackboard. And now my PDF is there. But it didn't print my blank pages because I didn't have anything written on them, so it's not wasting any space. Okay? Does that answer your question? Yep. Whiteboard for as long as you want. And then you can always go back into that file, edit it. Like say maybe this class is a little bit more advanced than the other one and I don't need to have as much information in there. I can just edit that out, delete it, reprint the PDF, or save as a PDF, send it out to that class.
I was just curious, is there a way to, if you're going to do two-dimensional graph of X, Y, Z system, is there a way to put one of those up and you can plot a line or a point on the grid like that?
Yeah, one of the backgrounds is a graph.
Yeah.
Is there a graph background?
Yes.
I wasn't aware. But
Yes, there's a
but
graph.
different backgrounds can be
Background.
created.
Right.
I don't know exactly how to do that, but you can do that.
One of the backgrounds is a graph, and then you can use the line stylus if you want to draw a line. Or if you want to put a button, you just have to touch it. See?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you wanted to do a line. Well, I don't want that one. I wanted to add a line. Hang on, let me add a
That
line.
was just my question. You got the grid. How did you get that, Chris?
Okay,
Just kind of background you did.
sure. That did not apply. Okay, so I went to the background. So my background is this one right under the folder that's got 3 different things, pictures, if you will. And then I went to show background image, reference, and it just happens to be one that,
Okay,
that comes
I
with the
couldn't tell
software.
when it was up there before. I didn't realize that.
No.
I didn't put that one up there.
Now, let me ask this, though. If, say that grid is too small and I want to make one, okay?
Uh-huh.
So I make one, or I take a picture of,
Yeah.
how do I save it? Well, if I save it, is it going to be system saved, or is it going to be just this room saved?
Probably wrong
Say
side.
this room.
Just this room.
Yeah, because the software is installed on each computer individually.
Oh, okay, so I'd have to make it for the other rooms I was into.
Well, is there, put it on a thumb drive?
Yeah, sure.
Add
I'm not worried about that, I just
Yeah,
want
put it on
to.
one of the network drives.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can
sure
get
there's a drive that you can access no matter where you're at on campus.
Now, how would I save it as a background?
So just save it as a normal picture.
Oh, would it show up there, though?
Yes, so what I'm gonna do is I'll show you, let's see, let's cancel, let's go to another page.
Okay.
Okay, and background, and show background image, reference.
Mm-hmm.
These are ones that come with the Sharp software, but I have one that I made. And you can maybe you've stored in documents, but there's no pictures in there, so I'm just gonna go to pictures. And I really like the desert today.
Oh,
I'm
so.
gonna hit open,
Okay, so I
apply.
would have to get it from wherever I saved it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So you have your
it wouldn't
drive
be on, it wouldn't be on the standard ones that are there.
No, not ones that you brought.
Okay.
Right, so if you
That's good
like,
point.
yeah, so
It's a- you put it
let's
on
say,
network drive,
this
you
is
go back
actually
there.
great, how big this is if we're teaching in science
Yeah,
about the
put it
different
on the J
problems.
drive. And if I put it on mine, I'd have to get it from K.
Right.
Right, okay.
So to answer, you had a better graph that you liked,
Mhm.
let's just, this is a picture that we're learning about. I'm just gonna go ahead and I can start marking up my background.
Yeah.
Stop that. And there you go.
Mhm.
And then I can just clear it off.
So Willis, with that other one, just by touching a particular coordinate, it'll put it on. Or you can use the stylist.
Right.
So, this is-
I added that part of that, just about that grid. I didn't, it's nice
Yeah.
to have the grid to mark on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was important to me, Willis. I was looking for it and I found it.
and then, you have your students come up and draw a line.
Mhm.
And the good thing about this is your students are coming from schools that they've been using this probably since kindergarten, or the students that are coming in the next couple of years, they have these in preschools. So they're gonna know and expect an integrative touch board or some sort that they can use, and they can come up and actually, I know in university they don't really come up as much, but this is small enough classes that, you guys still probably do that.
So if the university bought Promethean, which has tons of stuff, it would work on that.
You just have to buy a license, same with Smart. Because I know, if you have students coming from Aiken County School Districts, they all use Smart.
Smart boards, yeah.
So they're gonna,
I came from Allendale.
Oh, okay, so there you go.
Allendale's Promethean.
Yeah, Yep. I wanted to add the line arrows. Do y'all remember how I did this? I just hit add, apply, okay, hit okay again. My arrow is here, and I can connect as I wish. I'm a little off, but
It's not thick enough.
whoa!
It's good.
It's because I keep it's picking up my shoulder. In there.
So there's no way to adjust the grid so it's wider, or you see those, I can see every 5 is marked with a
Uh-huh.
a marker. Is there a way to bold the those grid lines so that it shows those?
No.
If you had it as an image, you could enlarge the image and mark over the image, but since it's a background, you can't adjust it.
So that's your only choice for the grid? Oh, you just
You can
enlarged it?
enlarged it
Oh, really?
and
But it
then
doesn't have to
pinch.
change the dimensions of it, though.
No, it just kind of makes it bigger.
It just-
And you can do that in PowerPoint also, you can enlarge the portion of the PowerPoint if you want them to see something in particular too.
But again, that might be something that, like you just strictly wanted to focus on this coordinate, or you only wanted like that shown in your lesson. That's probably something that maybe what you could do is have that as an image file and integrate that as a background.
That'd be fine. Just-
Yeah, see, that's.